Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? Thanks for coming back for another Marvel Snap video. Today, I'm going to be going over 20 decks that are just really good for climbing up the ladder. So first, I'm going to go over my personal favorite. It's a Ajax deck, or really a high evolutionary deck, and an Ajax deck. I've been crafting this basically since Ajax came out. It is top heavy. However, with the utilization of magic, and then of course She-Hulk and Abomination being discounted, you can Ajax on 5 and skip 6, drop 3 cards or more on 7, and just totally obliterate the board. Some good play lines: Ajax into Hazmat. Usually your opponent has a pretty good board. Ajax, you get up to 20-25 power easy. US Agent and Super Scroll are the flex cards in this deck. They're my personal tech cards. The meta right now has a lot of little like zoo decks are prevalent, Tribunal, things like that. So Super Scroll helps to get the blue marvels, the things like that, and US Agent helps to cull any like Hellas or Tribunals or anything like that, because one US Agent alone will completely destroy a Iron Man onslaught lane. So next, I'm not exactly sure who made this deck. This isn't a deck idea that I came up with. This is my own personal take on the deck. I've switched out a few cards, but essentially, and if anybody does know who made it, you can be sure to let me know, and I'll include their name in the description. However, it is a Havoc on 3 deck. So you play Havoc on turn 3, and you still have the option to play Mockingbird, Sasquatch, and Scar all in the same game. So you utilize Mysterio and Squirrel Girl to bring down the cost of Mockingbird and Sasquatch, who in turn bring down the cost of Scar. Phenomenal. My take on it is adding in Cyclops and High Evolutionary, Wasp. You can sub those out for any number of tech cards. You could play Havoc on 4. That way you could throw in a Shang-Chi, or you could play Havoc on 3 and throw in Shadow King, Quake, Red Guardian, instead of those. But for me, I wanted to have the brothers, Havoc and Cyclops, in there. So this one, again, not a deck that I personally came up with, but someone in the Discord did, brought it to my attention. It's been floating around the internet here and there. It is a phenomenal idea to save Dagger for the last turn and use Dagger as a surprise play. With Ajax already on the board, you can do something like Iron Fist into Dagger, or Dagger into Ghost Spider, and then Hazmat, and get a big bump in power. Sage plus Dagger and Iron Fist, really good. Hawkeye actually adds a third option with the grapple arrow that can be played and then move Dagger to wherever you need. Ravonna discounts Dagger and Sage, allowing you to play more than one card. I threw in Hobgoblin to be played on 5. you could throw in something like Mystique, and then you can Ajax into Mystique, into Iron Fist and Dagger. There's a lot of different play lines, but the essential cards are Dagger, Iron Fist, Ghost Spider, Hawkeye, and Ajax. Everything else, and Ravonna Renslayer. And because I had Ravonna in there is why I have the Goblins, and then because I have the Goblins, of course, gotta have Selene. She's a favorite of mine, and Selene hitting those Goblins and then sending them over is just chef's kiss. So next up, we have Galactus deck, and Annihilus is just not played enough anymore. Junk it will ruin the game plan of so many decks that it's just not even funny. Again, have US Agent and Super Skull in here. I'm gonna see them as much as I can. But the general concept of this deck is to junk, make everything negative, Annihilus it all over, leave space for a Galactus play. If you can't Galactus, then you can Ajax, and you should win with the Goblins in one lane, Ajax in another, etc. We have Man-Thing and US Agent to hit those Goblins even harder, should we need. Surfer is just good. Not enough people play Surfer at all. It is just an archetype that will take you to infinite time and time and time again. It's becoming a staple. You can use pretty much any 3-cost card. Red Guardian, really good against Thena. Cassandra Nova, really good against Airstrom. Sage, really good last turn play to just boost power. Absorbing Man plus Cassandra Nova is a phenomenal play. Here, I've used a lot of power boosting cards. Obviously, the America Chavez, the Okoye, the Nakia, the Fastos, all of those to boost up the Brood and the Sebastian Shaw and finish with the Silver Surfer and Gambit to just say la vie. Now, this is a deck I'm pretty proud of. I built it first week of Gwenpool, took me all the way to high 90s. It is a combination of the Black Panther Arnim Zola and the Nimrod plus Venom. One play line that I really like is if you Fastos on 3, a lot of times you can discount Venom, Grandmaster, or Carnage, and then you can do all 3 of them on turn 6. So something like Venom on Nimrod, and then you Grandmaster the Venom into the Nimrod. You're going to eat the Nimrod again, bumping him up in more power, and then sending the Nimrod off in 2 different directions. Psylocke is in the deck to hit more 4s, so the main play line is going to be Psylocke into Wong, into Gwenpool, and then you can go from there. Do try and leave a lane open for Black Panther, or don't put stuff on the Wong after you play Wong down so that you can Black Panther on the Wong and then Arnim Zola that in case you don't get the Nimrod. Howard is pretty essential to the deck because he allows you to see what's coming, and that way you can play your turns better. So if you know Black Panther's not going to be on 5, you're not going to play Wong, you're going to play Shuri instead. Kind of deal. Zoo is really big right now, but it's really good. And this is a more mill-focused take on Zoo. Basically, lots of disruption cards. Iceman and Spider-Ham, the Yondu, the Cable, and the Baron Zemo. Super Scroll to copy any ongoings for your side, and then finished off with the classic Blue Marvel into Gilgamesh. And then Mockingbird is just extra seasoning. Spectrum Ongoing, not played nearly enough. This is an Affliction style version of it. Send Hobgoblin over into a US Agent lane, again using Super Scroll. Yeah, it just works. It is just very hard to combat things like Claw and Cosmo and Mojo and these things that just spike so much power so quickly or lock down lanes. Mystique is in here. You could easily trade out any number of these cards for what works for you. I know. Let's see. Let's go to Ongoing real quick. Lizard plus Cable, or not Cable, Luke Cage, and Jean Grey, and then the Man-Thing, that's Route, or Omega Red, and boosting a lane, and then use Wave into Onslaught, things like that. Ongoing is really solid. This is another Galactus deck. This is one that, again, not mine idea, but this is my take on it. The idea is to storm into Quake to move the flooded location to an empty location, and then War Machine into the storm location with Galactus. Daredevil's in here to make sure that you're not going to get any surprises on 5 that might mess you up. The Selene Goblin package is a backup, and then Magneto is just a really solid card to move things out of a flooded location if you weren't able to Quake it, or if you needed to, you could Quake and Psylocke on turn 4, Magneto on turn 6, and then leave yourself an area to Galactus. Hela, this card is just super strong. Need I say more? Play Hela if you want to get to Infinite. Now, Destroy, also solid. I've seen a ton of Destroy today. More than, it's midway through the season. People are going back to Destroy. It is super solid. You can, a good play is to null into an empty location on 5, and then Arnim Zola that. The power from the destroyed null will get dispersed into the other lanes. Solid. Not much to say on that. This is the Phoenix Force version of Destroy. Again, very, very solid. The idea is to Human Torch Multiple Man early if you have to Vulture, and then destroy them real quick, get Phoenix Force out, move her. It is very hard to combat. In this version, I have Spider-Man 2099 and Heimdall. My preferred is to Carnage on the Multiple Man, and then use Phoenix Force to bounce so many Multiple Mans that it can't be combated, and then Heimdall last turn is just icing on the cake. Another move deck, again, move is just strong, and nobody's wanting to play move. There's so many alliance bounties I keep seeing. Nobody wants to play move. Why do they keep giving us move? The thing with the alliance bounties is they're shared between everybody in the alliance, and everybody in the alliance takes what they want, and then what's left happens to be what everybody didn't want. So if you don't want that to be the only thing, then collectively your alliance has to be taking those, or that will be what's left. And it's surprising how few people want to play move, even though it is arguably one of the strongest archetypes that is in Marvel Snap. It's the Little Movers package with Multiple Man and Silk and Kraven and just bouncing stuff back and forth. Again, you have the dagger, which you're going to want to save towards the end. If you have to play her early, you got the Heimdall. I like the Spider-Man 2099 on 5 into Heimdall on 6. It's just a play that's oftentimes going to net you a win. This is Namora. Now, again, another archetype that just no one is playing. Namora is just solid stats. You Ironheart on 3, Wong on 4, Namora on 5, Odin on 6, and it's just so much power that it's just, unless they have a Shadow King, they cannot Shadow King and Shang-Chi. I mean, they can, but it's rarely going to happen. So, solid deck. There's the Miss Marvel in there just in case. You can Miss Marvel plus Doctor Doom. Put up still significant stats. Now, Werewolf by Night, again, another archetype just criminally underplayed. Werewolf by Night is just, he's good in and out of bounce. This is a non-bounce shell. This is actually a Darkhawk package, utilizing the Black Bolt stature. You've seen people like Alex Kocha made versions of this. It has been solid since Werewolf by Night's been in. Darkhawk got nerfed and everybody was shocked because nobody was playing Darkhawk. But if you have trouble with Airsham, Darkhawk's solid, and even if not, Rockslide and Korg, and in this package I've got Selene with Green Goblin. Things like that just really start to mess up your opponent. The reason I have Grandmaster in here over Absorbing Man is I just like that cheaper option. It allows you to play it on 4 and still be able to play, Selene, Nico, what have you. You could even throw in Ravonna Renslayer to discount things even further so that you could play possibly Cassandra and Grandmaster on 4, or Cassandra and Sage on 4, and things like that. As Guardians, just a solid, steady deck. Thor into Beta Ray, into Jane Foster, into Odin is just, it's stats that if you're using proper snap and retreat, you'll get to infinite fast with a deck like this. Now, I've done a little bit of fancy upgrading, if you will, of the Asgardian package. Lockjaw's nothing new. Throwing in the hammers into Lockjaw is great. You can hammer into Blink, or you can Wasp into Blink on 5, or Yellow Jacket. But what I like to do is Mysterio and Hitmonkey on 5, and then you can play Sasquatch plus the hammers or what have you on 6. If you happen to have Yellow Jacket and Wasp, then Hitmonkey skyrockets even more. And if you happen to get Lockjaw out on 4, then you can put one of the Mysterio clones, Wasp, and Yellow Jacket all into Lockjaw, bump up your Hitmonkey, while also proccing those hammers. Here we have a more traditional zoo deck. The reason Nico is in here is to get double of Marvel Boy, or to destroy something like Squirrel Girl to further draw into your deck. U.S. Agent and Super Skrull, just really good tech cards right now. Mockingbird gets discounted by the Squirrel Girl. Just solid deck. This is a Patriot deck. Patriot is very solid, very underplayed. Again, I did a upgrade, if you will, on the Patriot archetype. The thought process here is to play Ravonna Renslayer on 2. That allows you to play Patriot and Mystique on 5. And then you can Ultron on 6. You don't have to worry about not getting enough power not being able to Mystique, things like that. Mockingbird gets discounted by things like Mysterio, dropping her down, and Sasquatch down, then allows you to play Scar, and then Ultron, and this power just spikes up. It's the same thing we've seen in a couple of other decks that I've already shown. Yeah. Bounce, also strong, not really played anymore. But again, discounting the Mockingbird and the Sasquatch with things like Squirrel Girl and Mysterio, which also Mysterio will proc Bishop 3 different times. Things like Hawkeye to produce Kate Bishop Hawkeye to produce more 1-drops for us, and Beast and Falcon to bounce them back to the hand, play them more. On turn 5, you want to play Mysterio and Hitmonkey together. That way you can play Sasquatch and whatever else on 6. And lastly, Loki. If you're struggling at all, just turn to Loki. It may not be the most fun, but it is probably one of the best decks right now. Playing what your opponent is playing, but just better, because it's at a cheaper rate. Loki absolutely destroys things like Zoo and Surfer, these things that you have to utilize your energy so meticulously, and Loki just does it better. Throw Loki into Airsham, and I mean, it really takes Cassandra or Darkhawk to beat that. So in this package, it's a more mill-focused Loki deck, utilizing Collector for the generated cards from Cable, Hawkeye, etc. Cersei, in case you need to flip over your cards. That is almost a last resort, because I've got, the things like Atuma or Carnage, Destroyer, things like that. Shouldn't really get Destroyer, but Nick Fury is a solid card. It not only will proc 3 power boosts on the Collector, but also give you options for your turn 6 play. And yeah, with Quinjet, you can play 1 on 5 and 1 on 6. So it's just super solid.
Hail Hydra!
Such is my judgment.